Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to monetize flipping property in today's episode with Deba Douglas. Deba Douglas is the founder of Deba Douglas Realty Group and Principles of Real Estate. And her expertise is as a mentor, coach, and real estate mogul with a proven track record in property investment and sales. And she combines her background in education with real estate to offer comprehensive training for aspiring investors. And she has helped over 300 students with her course, Roadmap to Real Estate Investing. First question is, what's the secret to your success?
Consistency, being consistent and just staying focused on the vision. I feel that I have went through the ups and downs of building a business and not really sure what I was doing because I started in education and transformed into being a real estate investor. But I stayed consistent and I focused on my vision of what I wanted to see, which is create passive income for my family.
Thank you. So how can entrepreneurs monetize flipping properties?
Yes. So the key is to buy the property right. So you're going to be looking for one of the ugliest houses on the block. One of the ugliest houses, the houses that have high grass, they have old windows, they just kind of look like no one took care of the house. So you find that house, you rehab the house, and you make it up to the standard of the rest of the community, and then you sell it to a family, and you are able to monetize because of all the work that you put into it. Make anywhere from 20 to even up to 80,000 or more on one property.
Thank you. What's the secret to having a successful property flipping business where you can make money every time?
Yes. So the key is following the numbers. We talk about basic math, but it really is basic math. Is you want to buy a property that is literally 70% of the after repair value. So whatever that value of that community in that area is, you want to buy the property at 70% of that value. And then you want to make sure you have reputable contractors because a contractor can make or break your deal. So having a reputable contractor that can stay in budget means everything. And if you can do those things, find a great property and find a contractor that can stay in budget, you will make money every single time on your flip.
Thank you. Tell us some aspects to consider when property flipping.
Yes, some aspects to consider is considering the city and the community. Are there good schools? Is it a good area? Do families want to come to that area and live in that area? Are there jobs in the surrounding communities? Also, you want to think about the houses that you're rehabbing. What type of things should you have in the house? Should you get carpet or should you do luxury vinyl planks in the house? Also, we have to think about the countertops. Should we get new cabinets? Should we have granite countertops? Should we do quartz? You want to make sure that your house sticks out with the top level of luxury, but for a budget that makes sense for that community.
Thank you. What separates successful from non-successful property flipping?
Not keeping a budget of your numbers, not knowing your numbers from the beginning, and making sure you're taking the time to check your contractors that they're doing everything correctly.
Thank you. Tell us about your journey. How did you become an awakened property titan? And how did that help you to build a property empire?
Yes. So I originally was an educator. And at the end of my stint in education of 16 years, I was a principal. I got to the point that I felt like I had a lot of mommy guilt and I was never home with my kids. So I kind of restructured my life. I talked to my husband and we decided that I should take a step away from education and dive into real estate. At that time, we had about 1 or 2 rental properties. But then I decided if I become a realtor, I would have more time and more freedom with my family, but also make a significant amount to really come and back to contribute to my household. So literally just following small, easy steps every day to try to get better, which led me to become a titan that I am. And I just continue to be consistent.
Thank you. What's your blueprint for entrepreneurs to become an awakened property titan as well.
Yes, I would say the blueprint is have a vision in your mind of where you want to go. Because if you don't have a vision, you don't know if you met that match or not, if you got to that point. So have a true vision, and then you create goals to meet your vision. And those goals should be very attainable, they should be very specific, and they should be measurable. And you just give yourself one step every day to get closer and closer to the goal. And give yourself some grace, because you may not get there in a year. It may take you 4 or 5 years, but keep that vision in the front of your mind as you're going through and making these decisions. And I guarantee you will get there.
Thank you. Is it possible to do property flipping successfully with no money down?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, I do it all the time. So I have a great lender that I work with that I share with all of my students, and they are able to fund 100% of the financing. Now it has to meet into the numbers, but we show you how to find those houses that fall into those numbers. And they are able to do it in multiple states. So you are able to get lending from them from all different areas. Another way that you can get low to no money down into flipping is get you a private lender. A private lender is someone that could be our family, our friends. They may have the liquidity, but they don't have the knowledge. We come in with the knowledge, we can use their money, we come up with the terms, and you now are going into flipping with none of your money out of your pocket.
Thank you. For investors who are seeking for passive investment to do property flipping with, do you have any solutions?
Yes, become a private lender. I have several of my good friends and different colleagues and partners that I use their funds, and they are my private lenders, that I'm able to utilize their funds for about 6 months and able to give them up to 20% in annualized returns based on the money that they lend me to do the flips.
Thank you. How to source the right properties, and which countries, which states, which particular locations do you recommend investors should consider?
Yeah, so really following the numbers, really knowing your community. I currently invest in Atlanta, and I also invest in Texas. Mainly, most of my portfolio is in the Dallas, Texas area, because there's always great jobs, and different people are moving to the Dallas, Fort Worth area. And because there's great jobs, there's great schools, it's easy to find decent properties that are flipping, that you're able to flip, and then you can find great families that want to move into them.
Thank you. You've already built a property education empire as well, helping hundreds of students with their property investment strategies. Tell us about some aspects you mentioned to those students, those property students, that most investors forget about.
Yes. I mentioned the little small details of, and things that you feel like it should be assumed, but it's really not. Like, remember to turn the utilities and the lights on as soon as you buy the property. Remember to put a lockbox on the door. Remember that if you do foundation work, collect all the paperwork that you need so that when you are able to sell it, the buyer feel confident into what you've done to the house. Make sure that you check all the plumbing, and make sure that if there's cast iron, old plumbing, drainage in the systems in the house, you change all that and put PVC. My ultimate goal to my students is that, yes, we want to make money, but we also want to put a great quality of a house out into the market, so that when a family moves in, they're not going to be haunted or be shocked by other issues that they did not know about. We want to be focused and put a great product out.
Thank you. Some investors can get tripped up by not getting planning permission, or perhaps not having considered that they need planning permission for certain things.
Yes.
So is there anything you recommend there?
Yes, I tell all my students that before they jump into buying a property, they need to research the city that they're thinking about flipping in. Understand what are the code of compliances. Understand when you should run permits and when your permits are not needed. Understanding who pulls the permit. Is it the general contractor? Is it the electrician? If you take the time to really research your city, and that's literally by calling up the city code of compliance, becoming familiar with them, building a positive relationship with them, and just being honest and say, hey, I'm in the area. This city is going to be new to me. I just want to make sure that I'm following the code of compliance. What are some tips and strategies you can give me as I go into flipping my first house in your city?
Thank you. Tell us about some some ways to add value to the property to make sure that you can flip the property?
Yes, I love islands. So if your property does not have an island, I suggest you create one because that is a new trend that everybody wants to have an island where people can come and migrate around the kitchen and talk to the chef while they're cooking. And it's just a great loving area to just make the house open. Right now that is trending is open concepts. Before in our older homes, it was more closed off where the kitchen was separated from the living room. But now we want those areas to be open. So if you can open up a wall, that's what you want to do. Another thing to be thinking about is create a mud room. Just creating a small mud room where the families can place their backpacks and just make it a little bit more intentional. That goes a long way. That makes it a luxurious taste, even if the house is only worth $300,000.
Thank you. Do you ever recommend adding, like a floor on top and as a strategy for adding value to a property?
Only if the numbers make sense. Sometimes that may be over improving, but if I'm not going to get the money back, then there's no point in over improving a property.
Thank you. How can investors budget appropriately for the projects they're going to take on?
Yeah, so when you're in the early stages and you're doing research with the city, you also want to do research with your contractors because every contractor is different. You want to connect with other mentors, you want to connect with other investors in your area and ask them for referrals on contractors that they have personally worked with. Once you've done that and you have about 3 or 4 different contractors, you then want to start building rapport with those contractors, have them come and do a walkthrough with you, give you a sample bid. And from there, talking to about 3 or 4 contractors on one particular house, you are going to learn what the numbers need to be so that when you're ready to really execute and buy your first property, you have a ballpark figure of what it should be.
Thank you. What are the top ways to source property that can be flipped?
Yes, driving for dollars. You literally get in the car and you drive around your neighborhood and you find those houses that look like they're unwanted, that look like distressed, and look like no one has touched this house in years. Another way is just to get on your different houses for sale platforms that you may have, and you look for the ones that are for sale by owner. Another great way is just to reach out to your local realtor. You never know who they know and who they are connected with that may have a house that they need to sell that it's unwanted in that family.
Thank you. What are the top things to include in a contract, in a joint venture contract with investors that may put the money down for you to do the deal?
Yeah, so you want to discuss the terms, like how much money is that private lender giving to you, when they should receive their money back, and give them examples of if you give me XYZ in return in the next 6 months, you should receive this back. You also want to come up with if there's any type of prepayment penalty, if things go wrong, what's going to happen. Don't wait for things to go wrong to try to figure out a plan. Be intentional and put everything out in the open in the beginning so that y'all can discuss it and make sure everyone is on the same page.
Thank you. What are the top questions your property students ask you related to property flipping?
Yes, they ask me, how do they find the money? That is the biggest thing is like, how do I find the money? So I give them my lender and give them direct contact with my lender so that they can find the money that they need. The other thing that they're looking for is how do they know the rehab cost? So we do a lot of hands-on walkthroughs that we meet up at houses, we walk through, and they get a true analyzation of what the numbers need to be.
Thank you. I think it's quite hard to stick to a budget when you are remodeling a house, right? How can you make sure that you actually can stick to a property flipping budget?
Yes, communication is the key. So when you are walking that property initially with your contractor, you want to make sure that you explicitly explain every aspect of that rehab. So when you say, oh, we want you to paint, we also want you to texture and paint the house. I don't want the same texture that's on the house because I need it to look new and fresh. When you're talking about plumbing, you may just say plumbing. They may think the plumbing is just changing the fixtures in the bathroom, but you're wanting them to change all the plumbing underground with the drainage, with the washer and dryer hookup. So you have to be explicitly clear. And the other thing that I do that a lot of people think like, why do you do that? I include the materials with my rehab with the contractors. Some contractors may say, this is my labor cost, but you buy the materials. you can get really crazy and really over budget if you do not focus on those materials. Because maybe your rehab for them to do the labor cost is like 30,000, and then your materials, you may anticipate it to be 20, but it turns into be 40,000. You are way out of budget. But if you can find a contractor that can roll in the labor price and the materials, not only are you going to be cognizant of the material pricing, so will the general contractor. And he's going to be very intentional because he wants to make as much money as possible. And he's going to make sure that happens because he's also selecting the materials.
Thank you. How can property investors keep more of the profit once they have remodeled?
Yes. So a couple different ways. It's all about negotiation. So hire a fantastic realtor. You have no idea how many deals fall through the wayside because you do not have a reputable, efficient, and knowledgeable realtor. Your realtor should be fighting for you and literally negotiating every aspect of the deal to make sure that the deals work the way they're supposed to work. And they should be asking questions and they should be yearning for feedback so that they can come back and share that information with you. So even when you have a deal, your realtor should be negotiating the title policy, the survey, who is paying for what, all the way down to the bottom line of the net that my seller should be earning. So it's really big on how your realtor is and if they're negotiating on your behalf.
Thank you. How can property investors benefit from your help? And tell us about one case study where you have worked with any of your students where you've had an amazing achievement related to property.
Yeah, so the great thing about working with me and my team is that we've all been there. Someone on my team that's going to be working with you, they were once a novice, brand new investor. So they understand the craziness. They understand the uneasiness. They know that, hey, all my money is out, and they know what that feels like. When you work with me, not only do I help you through the process with understanding how to look at the numbers, how to find the deals, we literally hold your hand through the entire process. We check in on you and we say, hey, did you sleep last night? Because normally you're not sleeping because there's so much money going out. We go and check the property, even when you're not there. We work with the contractor to make sure the contractor is keeping everything on track. We are there to answer all those silly questions that you think in your head, I probably should know the answer to these. I should already know this. We're here to just kind of guide, hold, support you while you're going through that transformation of becoming the flipper that was always inside of you. One of my most recent case studies was a girl that she was a physical therapist. She's always watched HDTV and watched all of the remodeling channels. And she was like, I'm ready to do this. She knew nothing about real estate other than what she saw on TV. So she came in, and after about 2 months, she learned how to analyze deals. She came to every event that I held. She came to all the walkthroughs. She came to all my weekly calls. She was very active. She asked constantly, was asking questions. Then we got to the point that I was like, hey, this deal popped up. Would you be interested in taking it on? She was super excited. Her and the contractor, she had already worked with him before. And so she was able to work with that particular contractor. She would come and check on the house every so many days because, again, she still had a full-time job. So it was hard of keeping up with her job and knowing that she's flipping this house. But the contractor was really good because they set the expectation in the beginning. So each day the contractor would send her pictures of the update so that she would know what was going on, even if she didn't have to show up to the property. And myself and my team, we would show up sporadically just to check in to see how the property was going. The house took about 8 weeks to complete. She bought the house for $157,000. She put in budget about $50,000 in the rehab. We were able to turn around and sell that house for $295,000. And within 1 weekend, we were under contract, and she walked away with $52,000 in her pocket. So needless to say, she's already looking for her second deal.
Thank you. Tell us about 2 more case studies like this where you've worked with a student to help them have a property flipping breakthrough.
Yes. So I had another case study where this was a good friend of mine. We went to school together, and now she was like, okay, I'm ready to do this, but I want to turn mine into a rental property. So we were like, okay, we're going to help you through that. So we buy the property, and she was in education. So she was a teacher, but she was like, I want to do more for my kids. I want to set them up for generational wealth. So we helped her go through the process, learn how to find the numbers, learn how to find the deals. She was able to find the deal with someone in her neighborhood because she started telling everyone she buys houses for cash. She found a house within her neighborhood that there was, I think someone had passed away, so it was more of an estate sale. She bought the property. She had to convert the garage. So now it's a 4-bedroom. Before it was a 3-bedroom. Once she converted the garage, the rent that now she can ask for, before with it being a 3-bedroom, she could ask for about $2,000 in rent. Now that it's a 4-bedroom, she could ask for as up to $2,500. And she was able to get someone to move into that house for $2,500 in rent. After everything was said and done, we showed her how to do a refinance. Once the house was refinanced, her mortgage was $1,900. So that difference, after she pays for other expenses, she is making that difference in profit every month after the first of every month.
Thank you. Tell us a third case study as well with a client you've worked with in property flipping.
Yeah, so one of my other clients that I've worked with, that they decided they wanted to flip. He was in the car business where he sold used cars. He had his own car lot, but he wanted to do more, like he yearned to do more. And so he started with me about 1.5 years ago. He started with that first one. He couldn't believe that our lenders were giving him the money for the purchase and the rehab. So he was just blown away about, they gave me all this money and I only had to bring about $5,000 to $7,000 to the table. So he did that and it worked the first time. And now looking back on it, now 1 year later, he is now on his 14th rental property and has no plans of slowing down because now he knows exactly what to do. He has the lenders that work well with him. He has the contractors that are constantly working and they know exactly what he's to expect. So he's actually created his own new business within real estate investing.
Thank you. What tools can property investors utilize to ensure speed of a property flipping? Because I noticed on your website, you have incredible speed in terms of your property projects.
Yes. So our key is to keep things simple, and I say stupid. Know your colors and keep the same colors for every house that you do. Know your exterior colors. Know your countertops. Like, are you putting granite? Or are you putting quartz? You want to remember those basic things about the house so that every time that you have a new house, you already know your colors, you already know your cabinet style, you already know your countertops, and you already know your flooring arrangements. So that then you can spend the other time doing little luxurious attributes to the house that you know will sell the house. And that keeps your overall numbers down because you're doing the same thing. So whatever you have left over, you keep it and you keep it for the next house. So that keeps your numbers under control with your budget. And then it keeps you from thinking, oh my gosh, what colors am I doing? And stressing you out, where you just keep everything consistent.
Thank you. Tell us about some marketing tools that enable property investors to find properties with speed.
Yes. So some of the marketing tactics is utilize social media. Everyone is on social media, some platform, whichever one you feel comfortable with, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your flavor is, and be consistent in posting that you buy houses for cash. Even if you only have little to no money, if you find a really great deal, there's going to be an investor like myself that will buy it off of you and you can make some money. So utilize social media because it's free.
Thank you. What property power team do you need to achieve property flipping income with speed?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's like the best question ever. Who do you need on your team? You need a mentor, someone that you can ask that's been where you're trying to go, that has the time to really invest in you and help you navigate pitfalls. The other person you need is a realtor, someone that knows the market, that has access to the MLS, that can run comps and give you pictures and ideas of what you need to do to get to the top level of the market for that particular house. Then you need a real estate attorney. You never know that you need a real estate attorney until it's too late. So I always say, get one early on. You build a rapport with them. And so when things go haywire, you're not scrambling and figuring out, oh my gosh, I need someone I can talk to. You've already built a rapport with someone, so they can help you with the paperwork. They can make sure that you are in compliance. And then the other person that you need, I feel that you need, is a business consultant. This can be an attorney as well, But their main goal is to make sure that you are not getting sued, that you stay in compliance, making sure all your paperwork is in order, making sure that your business accounts and everything is crystal clean. They can also be your CPA, just depending on what state and what country you're in. But you need someone to just keep track of the money, because you can utilize a lot of money. And if you don't keep track, you don't know where your money went.
Thank you. What's the best way to find your property power team?
Yes. Reach out to your mentor, reach out to different Facebook or Instagram groups or networks that are people doing what you would like to do, because success leaves clues. So a lot of investors would be more than happy to connect you with people that they've used, and would be more than happy to inspire, motivate, and support you as you go in through this journey.
Thank you. If you find a property deal that is way beyond your budget and you still want to do it, what do you recommend there?
I will usually reach out to someone that has a little bit more of the understanding, or maybe they've done it before. And if they're willing to partner with me to show me the reins of this new adventure, then they usually work together. We come up with some type of compensation that makes sense, and we move forward.
Thank you. What do you recommend relating to perhaps deals that are so huge that they need a lot of different investors to be part of the deal?
Yeah, so I love working together with other investors, especially with something that has a huge undertaking, because you can get different ideas, different perspectives on things. And at the end of it, everyone grows together. So one thing with real estate that I have learned, it's not my own island that I'm by myself. Reach out to people. People do want to help. Stay humble and be willing to ask questions, because you don't know what you don't know.
Thank you. What are the biggest property mistakes entrepreneurs make when property flipping?
Yes, it's not your home. It's not your home. It's not your home. Don't flip the house as if you are going to live in the house, because there may be some quirky things or things that you do in your home that it's not going to be ideal for the buyer. You want to focus on the houses in that neighborhood and the houses that have recently sold in that neighborhood. And you want to replicate those, or just slightly over improve what's already there. So focus on the area and not your particular personal home.
Thank you. What's your message to property entrepreneurs worldwide?
Just do it. Not only will it change your life, it's going to change everyone around you. You are going to now be wealthy. You're going to see the world differently. And once you become an owner, you probably won't be rich on your first deal, but I guarantee you it will change your life.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.